How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews. Back to yet another review. This is an interesting review for a couple different reasons. Actually, one reason. I don't know why I'm making a couple different reasons. It's because I'm going to be reviewing Uncle Jacob's Stout from Avery. Now, that in and of itself is not interesting. You've seen me review beers before, so what's so unique about this? Well, I got this in the mail 2 days ago. And Avery sent it to me. Thank you very much, guys. So there you go. Got it from Avery. But I've always been a fan of this beer. And I opened up the box like, oh, Uncle Jacob's. I was like, I love this beer. And I turn to my beautiful future wife and I say, man, I'm like, this is like one of the first beers I ever reviewed. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And I go and look. Nowhere to be found. I go on the internets, I go on the YouTubes. I'm like, holy shit. I know I reviewed this, but I must have never posted it. So, as I am anal retentive and I back up everything in my life, I go back in my archives and lo and behold, I find this. A review of this. It was like the third beer I ever reviewed back in 2014, early 2014. And yeah, thinner. Less hair, less gray hair, a lot of different things going on in that review, sitting in my kitchen, and I'm going to post that along with this one. So that's the uniqueness of this one. I'm going to actually post that review at the same exact time I post this one. So hopefully you watch this one first, and you know what's going on. But if you do or don't or whatever. Anyway, so I thought that'd be fun because I watched it for a half second just to try to see me talk. But I didn't really watch the review. I'm sure it's a dumpster fire. But just to actually go and post the same beer. Listen, different batch, different year. This is 14 days old from bottling. It was bottled February 6th. This is the 20th. So it's going to be probably hotter than the one that I got back then. Because we didn't get a ton of Avery back then. It was a little bit harder to get. So it probably had some time on it. We'll see. Maybe I read off the date in the bottle. Maybe I actually am lucid and know what I'm talking about. I highly doubt it. But yeah, you're going to get a little flashback and get me doing this one. You get me doing one of the old ones. How's that for fun? At least for you, not for me. Anyway, Uncle Jacob's Stout. Let's talk about it. What's on the bottle? Uncle Jacob's Stout. It's Stout. Man, the words are hard today. Annual Barrel Series. It's their batch number 7. It's a stout aged in bourbon barrels. It is a very paltry 15.9% alcohol by volume. It's bottled, like I said, February 6, 2018 on the side here. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to read this with my glasses on because I'm getting so old. It says brewed and bottled by Avery Brewing Company, Boulder, Colorado. It goes about, as Jacob Spears, our 6th great-grand uncle, and it goes into about why they brewed the beer. I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's brown. It's in a small font, and I'm old, and I have a hard time seeing. Plus, you don't want to hear it. So anyway. It's a big stout. It's a bourbon barrel aged stout. It's 16% stout, and the bottle really has not changed. That's not necessarily a bad thing. So let's dive into this. Not a big hiss off the top there. Give it a pour. She be dark. Not motor oil dark, but she's dark. Let's put it that way. Give her a vigorous pour. And what do we have here? We have darkness. And just north of malted malt ball in color and head. Nice creaminess to it. Kind of beveled, deep beveled head. You really can't see it in there. Tight, compact bubbles. Guess what? She looks like a stout. So yeah, we're off to a good start. She's got legs too. Let's see if we get a nose on her. It smells pretty fucking good. It doesn't smell as huge and gigantic as you'd expect from 60% barrel-aged, bourbon barrel-aged stout. There's something in there. I can't pick it up. You're getting a bourbon. You're getting a cherry. There's a little bit of booziness to it. It's all very orderly, the nose. You're getting a little bit of roasted malts. You're getting a little bit of kind of the cherry from the bourbon. You're getting a little bit of the barrel. You get a little bit of everything in kind of nice, kind of doled out slices. But there's some kind of extra component there I can't really pick off. I don't know what that is. It's the most violent part of the nose, but it's almost like maybe like a mintiness to it or something like that. It's very unique. Yeah, it's like a medicinal mintiness, like a spear mintiness, but it's different. It's not something I've gotten before on this beer, and not many stouts, so I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm just getting it. It's, like I said, it's not so much that it's a big, huge part of the nose. It's just so starkly different than what you usually get in a big barrel-aged stout that it sticks out, if that makes any sense in your brain. So, she smells nice. She smells interesting. Let's see what she tastes like. Cheers. That's new. It's fresh. It's new. It's a big, huge bourbon barrel-aged stout. The sweetness is very big. Listen. It's a 16% bourbon barrel-aged stout. I know it's going to be sweet, but it could definitely do with a little bit of time. Definitely do a little bit of time kind of sticking around with that kind of sweetness, kind of find its edge, find its roundness. The bitterness is there. There's a nice bitterness to that roasted malt. It's very sweet. Once you actually let that sweetness kind of drop down and round out, I think you're going to end up with a really nice balance between the sweetness and that bittering from that roasted malt. It does have a bit of sweetness from the barrel too. You're getting that nice kind of bourbon liquor reduced sweetness. It's not overly hot. It's not like it's like burning the back of my throat or going like over the top with this crazy amount of heat. It's not that. It's just very sweet. It's meant to be aged. Let's put it that way. But you get this nice bittering from the roasted malt. Balances off the sweetness of the beer. And the bourbon nicely. I think it's going to get much, much better with age, though. Still sweeter than that bittering. That bittering wasn't there. It'd just be straight up sugar. So once you give it a couple months to kind of settle into itself, a year maybe, it will absolutely round itself out. And getting a touch of like a coffee component in there. Again, the sweetness is beating that back. You do get a nice kind of dry, kind of oaky kind of tannin dryness from the barrel itself. I'm not getting a ton of char. Again, that bitterness I'm talking about, the roast malt could be part of the barrel char itself too. Again, the sweetness is big enough to kind of keep me from kind of picking that apart or defining that completely. And I do still get that slightly kind of minty characteristic. It's not over the top. It's not like you're going to be eating a piece of gum kind of thing when you have this. But there's this kind of like, not flavor-wise, but kind of eucalyptus effect to it. To where when you breathe afterwards, it's like cooling. It's like, and you get this kind of minty vibe from it. It's cool. I have no idea where it's coming from. I've had this beer several times in several different iterations, and I've never talked about this kind of mint thing before. So unless my brain is going super sideways and I am about to have a stroke, it's a unique characteristic to this particular batch. It's tasty. I've always loved Uncle Jacob Stout. It's just kind of like a weird thing, and this is like, the not rags. What's the word I'm looking for? This is kind of like, a very millennial problem. Let's put it that way. That's the best way I can think about it. And that I'm lucky enough to where Avery will send me one of these, their beers every now and then. But I believe the foil tops, the big barrel-aged foil tops for Avery are meant to be kind of sat on and aged. Now I could do that. I could actually take this and not drink it for a year. But you know me. I got to know where things start out. If you don't know where they start out, you don't know where they end up. So I drink them relatively fresh. And the last couple ones I've had, whether it be, I think it was the pumpkin and this one, and then a nice Professor. I did say they were quite sweet. That's kind of a theme going along with these. But you have to understand, like, they're capping it, bottling it, send it to me, I'm drinking it. And more times than not, these are taking several weeks, several months to get to you, or they'll sit on your shelf because it's usually a higher price point beer. I actually was at a bottle shop last night, and I looked at it, and by me, these retail for $15 a bottle. So it's something that I pick up as a kind of present to myself every now and then. Be like, I'm really in the mood for, like I said, a Rumpkin, or I'm really in the mood for one of their bigger kind of barrel-aged beers, these gold foil tops. And I know for myself, I usually look for an older one. I want a bit of roundness. I want it to have a little bit of age on top of it. So I go into these in the real life different than I go into these review-wise. So it's a weird thing to where I'm kind of talking about it in its most freshest form, but I also want to implore, and this is not because they send it to me. If it was hot garbage, I'd say so. I wasn't a big fan of Nutty's Professor. You can go watch that one. But I think this beer will be absolutely 100% world-class, fucking fantastic come mid-year. And I think this is when most people are going to end up seeing this beer. So, take my review for what it's worth. It is me drinking this beer as fresh as humanly possible. But also, listen to my old self in that older review. Because you can get two things from that review. You're going to get somebody who hasn't reviewed, 1,000 plus beers now on YouTube. You can get somebody that is drinking for the enjoyment of doing it. Someone who's started a YouTube channel just because they love beer. So you're getting that kind of green, kind of, I know what I'm drinking, but I don't know how to articulate myself kind of thing. But you're also getting an aged bottle. So take this review. Take that review I'm going to post and find the middle ground of both. Because that's probably somewhere where the truth lies. At least in my eyes. My taste, my nose. All these bits and pieces. So there you go. Let's talk about it. It's one of the better bourbon barrel-aged stouts. And we're talking bourbon barrel, stout, done. Nothing else that I've had as of late. And it's freshness. It's a bit too hot for me. But again, go talk to my older self. It's always been one of my favorite beers. So with this, with a little bit of age on it, I think is world-class. Fucking fantastic. Bag and availability, $15. We can get it anytime we want. So high price point, big availability. They probably have one thing. These were $5 a bottle. They wouldn't be really available. So you do the math. And leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like Avery's Barrel Age series. If you like Barrel Age stouts. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? But there's so many stouts that aren't barrel and stout. There's a lot of different bits and pieces being thrown at beers nowadays. To have something as basic, as basic as a 16% barrel aged stout, it's kind of cool. So if you like old school, just barrel-aged stouts, then this will definitely do you proper because it's tasty, it's delicious, and who doesn't like Uncle Jacob? So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. I can't believe I didn't make a Lost reference through this whole thing. Be perfectly honest with you. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the review down there, words and stuff. Let's see. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tap Massive Beers, all four of those places if you want to check me out. Not the YouTubes, the podcasts. BeerMassive.com or Beer Massive in your favorite podcasting app. Just go to the Googs, type in Beer Massive, see me doing the whole podcasting thing. I'm actually hitting the road tomorrow to interview two brewers. So roundtables, brewer interviews, all that fun stuff. Check that out. And go check out my older review of this when I first started doing beer reviews that I never posted until now. And there you go. Another review down. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're drinking a nice Uncle Jacob Stout right now. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.